Hey, it's the Chief Body with board games and RPGs, and what are we doing, Judd?
HAMTAG Life.
Woo! HAMTAG! All right, now before we go much further, Greg Schmidtkins, he was asked if he wanted to come, but he said he's really not playing anything new.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he said, I'm guessing ASL is still number one.
Yes.
All right.
I'd be shocked if it wasn't.
Exactly. What are we rating with our 5? Because HAMTAG means...
half as much, twice as good.
Half as much, twice as good. What's our list today?
Top 5 since our last one 3 years ago.
Roughly.
Almost to the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
3 years ago, almost to the day.
Yeah.
I thought it was like 2.5 years, but there you go. Bingo. Why don't you kick off? We're going to go from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
So if you want to kick us off, what is your 5th?
Now, these are new to me. This doesn't mean I'm going to have ASL.
Got it.
The old Kingmaker or whatever in there.
Right.
These are new to me. They're all fairly new. But just in case you go, hey, that was before the last 3 years. So guess what it is.
Right. New to you, not just like a brand new game.
Yeah. So my number 5, ready?
Do it.
Okay. My number 5 is Bayonets and Tomahawks. And Greg actually had in his top 5 the last time we did it. Kind of caught my eye. This is by GMT, and I'm going to butcher his name real bad probably. Mark Rodriguez. I can't speak French.
Oh. I don't know why you'd hand it to me, though, because neither can I. Yes.
Okay.
I think you nailed it.
Anyways, it's the French and Indian War. It was put out in 2021 by GMT. Yeah. Now, I always get a little wary of new designers. First times, and I was like, probably a second edition. We'll see if it, because always coming out, everybody gives everything a bunch of hype coming out, Cult of the New.
Right.
And I said, well, I'll wait, see if there's a second edition upgrade kit.
And there is. This is the second edition,
This is
right?
second printing.
Second.
That's what impressed me.
But it says second edition.
Yeah,
always throws me.
Yeah. Right. No, when I went to it to see, okay, what did they do? It was upgraded rules, and when I looked at the rule book, it was like a few sections had a little blue text just to clarify a few things. There were some questions. Okay. They nailed it.
Really?
And
is it French-Indian War?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm assuming.
Yes, and it is more scenario-based. It's not. I mean, you can play the whole thing, but it was really designed around the yearly scenarios. And that's what I really enjoy about this thing. They cover so much with such a simple rule set. The slow building of the roads toward Fort Duquesne, for instance, the naval, Lewisburg, raids, it's all in there. And they do it really elegantly, and they got unit differentiation. Cool, the pieces are either round, like square, or triangular. And it fits, and their dice kind of got custom dice, but the combat system is very unique. And it solos fairly well because you have each side you'll have one card you had from the previous turn, and you draw one and play one. So you're only dealing with 2 cards, and it's usually obvious what you play.
So a triangle unit, it says, is a light unit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Native American.
And then full, got it. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and full is a normal like square, and they've auto-clipped the corners, which is nice.
Yes.
And then reduced, you flip it?
Yep.
Or is it a different counter that's got the bloody mark on it?
I believe it's reduced.
Got it.
But anyways, so yeah, this is... So yeah, my thing, Wilderness War was always my standard for French and Indian War. Little problem solo one. I know there's a Stuka Joe thing out there. I've messed around. I haven't messed around with that one. I want to. But, the Stuka Joe thing, it's good. I've made some improvements to a couple of them, Napoleonics and Washington's War. But you never will catch the big feel of playing an opposed player.
Sure.
And this one actually is a lot more solo capable, but it was quite a bit better than a lot of the other French and Indian War games. Mohawk, some of those others I'd played. Just really impressed and come out the gates, and this thing is very, very well developed. And since I saw how developing works firsthand, I was like, this, which I'll get to mention later, but yeah.
Are leaders represented? Do you see, was it Major Washington?
Yeah.
He's in here somewhere?
I believe so.
All right. He'd
been about a year since I played.
Got it. All right. Well, very cool.
So yeah, that's my number 5, Bayonets and Tomahawks. I got the second printing, which came out last year, but originally 2021.
Boom, I think I got that tucked in there.
Okay.
You'll want to fix it.
Okay.
It's like the cable. Yeah, the cable, the cord.
Yeah.
All right, my number 5. Now, first thing I'm going to admit is I have been way deep on the role-playing side. Deep enough that I've even added to the channel's name because the name's not long enough, Bonding with Board Games and RPGs. But this is a big, heavy board game, and it's a tactical war game. Assault, Sicily 43, and I always say it wrong. It's Gela Beachhead. I think it is pronounced Gela or it's Gela. I can't remember.
I don't speak Italian either.
I know, but so huge box, and I did the same thing you did. It's upside down from here, so I can't even read all this stuff. But what this is, obviously 1943, the U.S. invasion coming in, and it's tactical war games.
Really?
Right. So I have the first Assault game, which was all Eastern Front. You know, I kind of have my favorite tactical, but I lean tactical. So Wolfgang sent me the first one and this one, so they were sent to me, so you know. I did do a review of it. And the campaign system in here, which I have not played, I just went through and read the campaign. I haven't done a deep dive into the campaign system, but it's just got tons and tons of meat on the bone. There's so much box here even that I probably can't talk over it. So part of what is interesting with Assault as it stands is that the idea is you don't have a lot of information on the counters on the tactical board. What you have are counters that are then, all the info is represented by cards that are in front of you. So you might have one recon card, but you may have 3 recon units on the board. And you just need to reference your card, and then they may be, there's some tons of optional rules where you could have a veteran unit versus like a brand new or untried unit or mediocre. And then for dice, or for combat, it's diced with range, and if you're going against armor, or if you're going against infantry or guns. And it'll tell you at this range, you're going to grab red dice, very much like what we're used to when a red die has more chances to hit. And then there's, I can't even remember, I think it's a yellow die, and then there's like a blue die have even less chances to hit. And then you have some different defensive things that you can do that can add things into your defensive dice. So I would be rolling a defensive die against your offensive die, and then we just, you know, this cancels that hit. This cancels.
Kind of like Tide of Iron.
Exactly. That's exactly what it reminded me. It's just like, not just like, it's very much like Tide of Iron on that sense.
Are these tacticals set up the boards, customize them, or?
It is geomorphic boards.
Okay.
And then by customize, you mean like you could add trenches or something? Yes, you can add, you know, there's fortifications, there's trenches that can go in. So it is a geomorphic board. The reason the box is so big is because these boards are very large, and he wanted to go with this, I think, larger deal. It's got, obviously, the bits are all top notch. It's a beautiful game. Here's the interesting part. I thought with the dice and the cards, although it gives you a nice clean table lay, when I first got it, the whole system, I thought it was going to maybe be too simplistic. It's not. It surprised me that it's actually, there's a basic game, and then you can add in all these different optional rules, but once you start seeing the optional rules, you really want them. The good thing is you can learn it on the simple, and then you can start flavoring in and layering in these other rules, but it gets really crunchy.
That's how Avalon Hill used to do in the old days.
Okay.
I always liked that.
Yeah, you can just, hey, okay, we played the basic, but yeah, I need more. Okay, we got this. But it gets actually a little bit crunchy in the terms that sometimes it's like you're going to do this unless you've done this with the sidebar of that. Sometimes it's probably me. That'll lose me every once in a while. So that was the only thing. But I enjoy a tactical game. Everybody watching HAMTAG knows I like tactical. So when this came in, or the Assault system came in, I like that it's different. And I was just surprised that you may think it's going to be very basic and simple because of the dice rolls, but that's baking in some of that randomized, but here is how they did it this range. So,
most important question.
Yes.
Airborne in this?
Yes, there is airborne in this. So you also have Rangers in this. And tons of other units. Whatever the historical is, it's in there. Klein is like, Wolfgang is very dialed in. This is a passion project for him, and it's just top notch all the way around, even down to the design of the box. Any other general questions other than it's heavy?
Yeah.
All right, let's move to our number 4. Let me hold on, get help lifting this off the table. I've opened up the play space for you to bring in number 4.
Okay, my number 4 is 65 squad level combat in the jungles of Vietnam, and that's the first edition. The second edition cover looks something like this. This is my upgrade kit. Really? It's just a bigger box. So this game is by Flying Pig Games, designed by Mark H. Walker. This game, there's not much in there because most of it's set up on my table at home right now. Being played.
Okay, it's being played. I was looking for a rule book.
The game, the way I describe it to people, and before the game actually was announced, is Combat Commander Vietnam. And it was kind of funny because when I got in, this started off as Night of Man, which is aliens have taken over Earth and the rebellion's fighting back. And then the system was transported to here, and then they did one on Afghanistan, Russia and Afghanistan.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, the system, you have your hand of cards. You have to use them to move units, fire. These units will have, some of them have special powers, like maybe a leader has something, and if you have a card that says power, you can activate the power. They'll all have special abilities, so he's able to customize the individual units really nicely in this. You can play a card that might say fire, and then another one that says, you know, add 2 or 3 to your value. You play these in combinations. And it was funny when I got done playing this, because I had Night of Man and this, and I thought, wonder why he doesn't do World War II. It's such a big topic. Then I said, oh, because that game's called Combat Commander and it's sitting on your shelf. Got it. Which surprisingly, you know, I've not been the Combat Commander's biggest fan, and thanks to this game, I'm now a fan of that game. So anyway, this came out 2016 originally. The second edition just came out. It's Kickstarter finished, so you can get it on there. They did not have holes, which required a second edition. It was that he had some new ideas he put into the Afghanistan game and wanted to put them back into here. You know, cleaned up the rule book a little bit. Before it was just you could print it off if you wanted to. But very clean. The rules are very clean. The game's really easy to learn. Very intuitive also. But this game has a ton of expansions for it. He has one on Anzac. I forget what the acronym stands for. Also with Australian. Right. Yeah. Yeah. The Marines. He has a whole Battle of Way, the whole town city board on there. He came out with a whole bunch of scenarios for added to this. This has a really, really cool solitaire system. This isn't, I'm going to take my best guess with 2 cards, or you're limited on which cards you can play. This is a deck of cards for the AI, special units marked, and it will say activate the triangle units. And their order is they will try this first and this second. It is a very smart AI system. Makes it it's a blast. That's really what sold me on this. When you see these games, the trick to them is when you see the word, because I saw this game and I didn't really understand how it all fit. The expansion is called Alone in the Jungle. The other Night of Man is called Alone Against the Aliens, and I forget what the other one. When you see the word alone, that's their way of saying this is the solitaire expansion that comes with it. But yeah, so, you know, probably the obvious question, am I going to get Combat Commander? But no, probably not, just because I don't want to learn a new rule set, and I already have this, and it's so thoroughly developed. No hate on that, because I've actually been enjoying Combat Commander Europe a lot. But this one is so well developed already, and there's small nuances. It's not direct copy of Combat Commander, but I mean the similar thing about using cards to move fire.
So if you don't, because what I hear from some folks, I like Combat Commander, but some folks don't like that. If I don't have the card that allows me to shoot, even if that enemy unit's in open territory, they won't shoot.
The same thing.
Good.
But if you close assault somebody, they will attack. I mean, it's simultaneous.
Got it.
So you will attack back, and that's really you want a close assault in this thing if you can. Distance shots, they might disrupt you, but they're probably not going to kill you. I mean, they can, but you got You got to need a lot of firepower to do it.
Well, and starting in 65 is interesting because that's when entire units would cycle over. And so you didn't have that hodgepodge where units were cycling, individuals cycled out of a unit. It was entire groups came in and...
Yeah. Well, very high quality mounted boards, geomorphic. I think there's 3 in the game in this one, unless you start getting expansions like The Way, which is a big city. Really good counters, big counters. Cards are nice and thick. I sleeve mine though because lots and lots of shuffling.
Sleeve them?
Yeah. Hippie. You should sleeve anything you shuffle a lot, man. Anyways.
Have you ever worn out cards that weren't sleeved? Even on like a low quality... I've never
you
worn
could
them
on
out.
like, if you played something like those old Columbia games.
Sure.
Those are cheap cards.
Right, but have you ever worn them out?
I don't give them a chance.
I know.
You take something like a State of Siege game or something,
Okay.
or like the French and Indian War, where you're shuffling every single turn.
Right.
You would wear those cards out if you played that game.
So I have Ticket to Ride. I bought it in like 2006. It's the little tiny Hobbit cards. We riffle shuffle them. Now they were higher quality cards, but they show wear. But I kind of like it.
Okay.
Now it doesn't hurt the play or anything, but I mean, you know, and I don't know. I'm just I hate the plastic. I don't like the plastic.
I don't know.
It's just me. I know everybody's up.
There's good videos on how to make them lie flat. I mean, so they don't
Don't
fall
use
over
plastic.
No. Like put a couple of boards on it and then C-clamp the thing and then lock it down and then
C-clamp it.
Yeah, I mean, no, with the boards to protect them, and then it will flatten them out. There's one of the good, I don't remember, Zilla Blitz or somebody made a video on how to do it, and it's like, wow, that's cool. I haven't done it yet, but
or with the amount of all that and the work, you could buy a second copy and be ready to go.
I don't have shelf space.
Your backup.
Okay, anyways, that's my number 4, 65.
All right, my number 4. We are now currently with this one out of the world of board games, and we're into Dungeons and Dragons. So now this is interesting because I'm actually a player in this game. So I am running a group that I'll get into later at my house, and a gal that is playing in a game that I'm running, a West Marches, that is not D&D, we'll come to it later. She had wanted to run a game, be a GM, and she liked D&D, and she asked if I would play in her session with her group, and I said, absolutely. From a role-playing standpoint, in my opinion, you want to have as many runners as you can. So I'm running a game here, she's running a game at her house. It just makes, when you're a player and you're in someone else's game that they're running, you're just trying to help them out and do everything you can to make the entire session awesome. So when I was a kid, I was not into fantasy. I wasn't into Conan. I was into the Apocalypse, World War III, Red Dawn was awesome. I was playing a role-playing game, but it was Twilight 2000 first edition back in the day. So although I had played D&D, I think when I was 13 in 83, or maybe when I was 14, 84 at a Lutheran church camp, I didn't have a lot of experience in fantasy. So it's been very nice diving in to, this is D&D 5e, the 5th edition. So it's been fun. We're still going. She's trying to meet, I think, every 6 weeks. But it's really nice when you have a group and you start to campaign, because I describe it, or I will describe it later, I won't be able to get all that in, as it's almost like you're showrunners and you're writers and you're in a writing room. It's just fun to see the world come to life.
Okay, so I got a question.
Do it.
I played that in 82.
Got it.
83.
Sure.
Back then there was D&D and AD&D, Advanced Dungeons. I'm assuming this is AD&D because I thought
it is. Yep.
You still use 3d6 to roll up traits, characters?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if they'd switched to percentile dice.
Right. Nope. You're still rolling up. So I forgot I've been playing this one for like a year now. So rolled up my character, but then you kind of leave that alone. It's all D20 system as you're playing.
Okay.
Because in my West Marches game, It's a 2d6 system,
Okay.
which I actually like better.
Only one I played
Less
a
swinging.
decent amount back then was Recon. I forget.
Yeah.
How many, but yeah, that was Vietnam one with Special Forces.
Yeah, I've always leaned toward the military side.
Yeah, I rolled up one, and I rolled up a character in Traveler, but it took like 2.5 hours, and by then it was time to go home.
Right. Well, half the fun even as a kid, half the fun was the creation of the character. For me, there's still a ton of fun in creating the character and then trying to embody what that character would do in the world that you're in. The more real it is to you, the better the game, the deeper the immersion. So, yeah. And I'll save my other thoughts till I get some of my other games on why I think the role-playing in-person thing is interesting. We'll save that.
Okay. My number 3 is Global War. It's designed by Ben Madison and Wes Ernie, put out by White Dog Games in 2023.
Okay.
If you're familiar with Kaiser Krieg, it's similar system.
Oh, solitaire.
It's purely a solitaire game. Where Kaiser Krieg, you're the Central Powers. This one, you're the Allies. And I'm a big solitaire player. I mean, I put out my top 25 solitaire. I joined that solitaire guild group on the BGG and all this. And, every other year my list will be only solitaire games, not, because I would say, hey, I can play almost anything solitaire. So, but this one, for all these years, I kept saying Dawn of the Zeds is the best solitaire game ever made, and I thought that would always be true. But this one, I crowned it.
Really?
Yeah, I think this and First Jihad, I think. But yeah, I probably get a slight nod to this one. Dawn of the Zeds is still awesome, though. But anyway, this one, it is, like I said, it's Kaiser Krieg if you're not familiar with it. If you squint really hard, you can see the influence of State of Siege. This is not 5 tracks moving toward the central.
Okay.
This is the Soviet front, Japan, North Africa, Western Europe, stuff like that. And then you'll have these reserve boxes with I think 6 units in there, and it will tell you to add a unit to the board. And when that last one hits, that's when bad stuff happens. And cities will lose basically it's like a mega offensive on their part, and the cities will flip to what's the phrase? Not discourage, I'm blanking on the word. But your cities will flip. You have 11 cities, and when they all flip to the wrong side, it's like they've lost their will. Kind of like the strategic will from Empire of the Sun, if you will. But so you're trying to drive those guys back out. And then they do stuff like when you're on the Eastern Front, you got to knock the armor unit out, the armor piece out first, which is just supposed to be that it's that much harder. And then once there comes a point, they're gone, and then you start to see the tide turn. The really cool part, I did not care for in Kaiser Krieg. He'd copied Jeff Davis's system for how you get actions is through, in Jeff Davis, it was the blockade runners, which, yeah, it kind of works in there. In Kaiser Krieg, it was how much you could get through the English blockade. And I'm like, Germany had a pretty strong economy on their own. They weren't that like the South was. And it just didn't quite work for me. The rest of the game was great, but that part always bugged me. This one, they do it more with the Battle of the Atlantic, and that works really, really well. And you see the battle of the tide turn as you start to get the long range, the B-24s in there, the escorts, the destroyers, ultra, things like that. It starts turning, you get more and more actions, but you are against the timer trying to run this. And it's not one size fits all. The way Japan and the naval part is handled is completely different from the other side. And I think one of the big differences, Kaiser Krieg, Wes wasn't involved with that. And Wes will always seem to come up with these really clever ideas, and he's just a really good math whiz guy at making these things work and coming up with just creative subsystems in these games.
Yeah, late war bombing using Churchill.
Yeah, Ben Madison, he loves Chrome, but he doesn't overdo it where it's impossible. It's too much. But he puts these in here. The leaders will have an effect in there. You have Churchill, Stalin, Roosevelt. and how they can influence the game. But when you play them, you're not going to be able to use them for a little bit. That's pretty, I mean, it works just super well. Now, the thing I would say on this is, with this game, love Ben, but his player aids are good. Other people make them better. And almost every Ben Madison game out there, if you go out to BGG and go to the file section, there is a sequence of play. And a lot of them are made by the guy with the Black Panther avatar. I forget his name, Christian something. Anyways, he makes really, really good ones. Rules references, very, very sequential, because most solitaire games are sequential. And you just follow along. One of the tips I give for it is print them off, cut out everything, all the white part on the edge so you can make them as small as possible, lay them in front of you, and then put a piece of plexiglass on top of it. And then you can set your rule book on and slide it back and forth and look at this. You need to look up a rule while you're kind of figuring it out. Then you'll be setting the rule book to the side, but it's all right there. And then your board's right out in front of you. And if you get, I mean, like I said, the one in the game works. The ones that the fans make are better. But anyways, if you get that, this is the way to play World War II in a night. You know, it's like Axis and Allies. You've got 18, 20 hours or whatever to play some of those, and some of them just get so abstracted, it doesn't really feel like you're fighting World War II. I kind of thought Quartermaster General's a little that way, more Euro than this. This actually, there is so much chrome. I mean, you got the what do you call them? The dude in Yugoslavia, Czechoslovakia. Tito.
Oh.
Yeah. He's in this. I mean, just
Yeah, I saw they had
tons of chrome.
hostile Iranian and Turkish armies in the Caucasus.
Yeah.
Impose a -1 DRM to front B.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And then you got a nuke dropped, quote, on a front, end quote, represents the destruction of Axis home country industries required to sustain military operations. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, so this is my, like I said, I think it's the best solitaire game I ever played. Global War by White Dog Games.
All right. I don't have a box to slide over for this one, so on camera I will end up throwing up a photo. I was playing around with ChatGPT. One of my guys at work uses it to help him out with emails because he's a terrible emailer. Like, he's too blunt, and I would get complaints. I'm like, you got to do something. And I joked around and said, use ChatGPTs for your emails. And then I literally had an upper-level management say, this is one of the best emails I've ever read. And then I read it. Halfway through, I went, he didn't write this. A robot did. And he was like, yep, I took your advice. And it was good. I like Grok, XAI. And when Grok 3 was out, I started using it, trying to see if it could GM. And then now I'm using Grok 4. So what it is doing, and I'm filming a solitaire session, you're seeing that little thing come up. I wanted to see how rough is this going to be. Can I use a very simple system? So I think I actually did bring down. I'm using kind of a version of Apocalypse World. Great cover, by the way. The artwork's very cool. So Apocalypse World uses 2d6. And you have a fail on 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You have success with consequences, 7, 8, 9, 10, and a real solid success, 11 and 12, I think is how it goes. So, and then you have your sheet, you have your character, there's some modifications you can do to your standard stats and things like that. That's where I deviate a little bit from what's going on in Apocalypse World. No need to dial into that because it's not about Apocalypse World. But what the GM doing as Aura, especially on unhinged mode, it's a little rough, it'll talk smack to you a little bit. You can say, I want to do this, but you know what? What are the chances that it's like a Mad Max scenario? What are the chances that marauders are coming for me? Let's roll for that under this system. It's a 3. You have, 5 tough vehicles that are coming in on you. What are you going to do? And so then you're kind of coming up with it, bouncing it off the AI, and it's coming back, and I will roll physical dice and then say what I rolled, and it'll take those rules, know what it is, tell me what a partial success is in the situation. It will roll sometimes. I actually questioned it once and said, oh, it seems like you're rolling high. And it got mad at me. Said, why are you questioning? I said, well, they don't seem random. So I like doing my own rolls still, just because it's kind of like an auto roller on a game. Sometimes, you could roll crazy on the table, but they're bouncing around as long as you don't have weighted dice. But anytime anything digital happens, I'm like, this doesn't feel random. It feels like something's got hinked up.
Here's the thing about it. Vassal, people are always complaining about Vassal, and Joel always jumps in and says, he points out all the studies that have been done, and the thing is you remember the weird stuff.
Yes.
You forget the regular stuff.
Yes.
You forget that, you're playing Command and Colors Ancients, you remember the time you rolled 6 helmets or 5 helmets or something. It's like, then I did it again. Well, sometimes I was like, well, yeah, your chances are pretty rare, but you play this enough, you're going to see weird stuff. I always joke when I'd play it and I'd do something and you see the same roll twice in a row. I would say, Vassal dice be crazy, but I know it's just probabilities you're going to see it, but people are always, that's Vassal dice.
Now, I think that dice roller is probably more random than, well, it's hard to say, than whatever the AI is doing. Because I think sometimes the AI is just like leaning dice on a story or something. So I don't know. It's still beta. I also played around. It can be a little racy, so I warned people before they watch this, because I also asked it to push, in this particular game, there were these like cyborg robot women that kind of look shapely, and I would say, describe that, and it can get a little racy where I would ask it to actually replace certain words so that it's even suitable for YouTube. Otherwise it won't even be able to go up. But even with the replaced words, it's like, so it's an interesting world. I recently had a commenter say, like, kind of like belittlingly, oh, you're using AI grok to do a GM in a game. Why? My comment back was, I think AI is going to be doing everything. So why would, I literally think it's going to fit into spaces that you never thought about. The question is it working well or not? In this case, Grok 3 was a little rougher. Grok 4, I've gotten lost in the story a couple times where I'm like, wow, or I get surprised by it. So it's working, and we're still kind of in a beta phase. So it's interesting. I don't want it to take over in-person stuff. I'm going to come back to that. I still love meeting with people. When I retire and I have more time, I want to get back to having our board game. We used to have a war game group that would come over. I want to get back to that too.
Okay.
So enough on that. That is my number 3. Yes.
If there would have been AI back in 1982, 83, I would have played more RPGs. Because my friends were in a D&D and I wasn't a fantasy guy. I played it like once or twice. I didn't care for it that much. They're all, I wanted to be George the Dwarf. I was like, I don't want them weird names. I want a regular guy, American, with his big broadsword.
See, now, if you would have been near me, we would have been playing Twilight 2000. You would have been a military unit, possibly Soviet Spetsnaz, who knows? We would have been stuck in Poland, my group was just trying to get back home.
Yeah.
And it was a fun, brutal setting.
And see, like I still have a bunch. The only old RPGs besides Recon was, I bought a bunch of Star Trek stuff back in 1984. Read it all, loved it. I was like, I'm not a DM. Never played it. And I spent a bunch of money on that stuff, but I was like, if there would have been that, I would have been playing it. I have a bunch of the Indiana Jones stuff, and I've heard the problem with that is, which makes sense, everybody wants to be Indiana Jones.
Sure.
Who wants to be Willie or Short Round or those other guys? And hey, I can play it solo, let the grok do the thing.
I would have made it where suddenly Indy's got a twin. You're twins. And one of them's got this quirk and the other one's got this one. And I've used this Mythic emulator that handles like solo play really well as well. But using this AI GM, it's been working. And like I said, there is no doubt we're still in the early phases. So it's going to be, I think, really interesting. Just a new space. Kind of like, I'm going to be honest, when Jobs said the smartphone was going to be the newest thing, I thought, no, I already got a phone, flip phone, and I already got a computer. What's the big deal about combining them? Well, I didn't get it. Yeah. I didn't get that the apps and the camera and everything and was going to be able to funnel in, like it was your own tricorder, basically, that did more than the tricorder, or kind of. And I didn't get it. And I think AI is going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, we are in. What you got?
Okay, my number 2, I want to explain something first. So I mentioned bayonets and tomahawks, and I said, which something I didn't mention was that the guy who designed that's a reenactor, so it's very near and dear to him. And I said, this game is a really, really well-developed game. And I'd done development work with Mark Herman. I kind of saw what developers do. And I was like, when the rule book's that tight that it only needs a couple little clarifications because people don't quite get what, So anyways, I thought this game is really well. Well, anyways, I put it on my top 100 that I put out every year on December 7th. Easy day to remember. Larry Bird's birthday.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. No.
Was it really? It was Bird's birthday, December 7th?
One of my buddies is a humongous Birds fan. I'm a lifelong Sixer fan, yeah, I'm Bird. Anyways, but no, it's always a joke. But anyways, so yeah, I put it on my top 100. I had a really high, like 13 or something last year. And, I noticed on the Who Had Thumbed It was the developer. Because he always follows it. And he answers tons of questions. And I just, because I'm nosy, I went to his profile. And it said, designer of Prelude and Rebellion. I thought, what's that? I was like, I clicked it. And I was like, oh, that's that game okay. Well, immediately I went out to Compass's site because they're in their Christmas sale and they had it for $20. Like, well, giddy up, I'm all over this. Just because I knew it's going to be a tight game. It's not going to be a mess. And what was pretty cool, which that's my number 2 game, Prelude and Rebellion. It's funny, when you look at it on BGG from the little tiny picture, I always thought this guy was on colored stilts.
Oh.
No, he's standing on a platform with flags. So, anyways, the guy who designed Bayonets and Tomahawks was the developer for this. They flipped roles. So I thought, this game's going to be tight. So what is the game about? It is about mobilization and unrest in Lower Canada, 1834 to 1837.
Wow.
That's why I was never into the game. I think it's part of why a lot of people haven't looked at it. Why it hasn't sold more. Because, man, this game's amazing. Because, I know so little about Canada between the War of 1812 and when Rush made Fly By Night. This is just a big empty. When I was in Canada visiting, I asked him, why is the Queen on your money? He's like, don't you all have people of your own? I just don't know anything about Canada. So, anyways, so I didn't even know what Lower Canada was. I'm thinking from what this is I don't know what they call it, states, provinces, Quebec. Provinces, the Quebec provinces. And you got the counties in there.
True.
So the idea of the game is, you don't shuffle them a lot, so I don't sleeve them.
Oh, there you go. But you bought a little case for them.
That's nerdy. Well, baseball cards.
Throw a rubber band and just double wrap it.
Dude, you should look at some of my old ball cards.
I know. The bent. I know.
The pain. Anyway.
I know, and then the rubber band dries to them.
Yep. And those cards will slam all around the place if you don't protect them. So you can go over to the ball card store and get those for $1. Anyway, so anyways, the concept of the game is that I think they're wanting to rebel against England because they were an English, I don't know what you call it, territory, province, colony,
Sure.
I don't know.
Nice board.
Yeah. So, anyways, so one side is the Patriots, and they are trying. It looks like it's spelled weird. Like it's not weird. It's French.
Sure.
I'm guessing it's Patriots, Patriote. I don't know.
Sure.
Anyways, and the other side is the Loyalist, and you're trying to go to the counties, and there's like meters to. It's very it has a Twilight Struggle vibe to it. Instead of placing the counters down, you got meters, and they can max out.
Right.
And some counties are more favorable to others. It's going to cost you more actions to place it there just because you're the Loyalist, for instance. And you got these meters, so you're trying to build support in there. You're also trying to build organizations, ultimately trying to get militias. You're trying to get more of the rural counties on your side. The urban counties, which is Quebec and Montreal, the only 2 places I can pronounce on the map. So, because one had a baseball team. So anyway, there's 4 different ways of scoring. Now, I'm not going to bag on Twilight Struggle because it's a good game. It was in my top 100. I just don't love it like some people do. And I mentioned part of it why was the memorization of the cards. I mentioned the comment that if I played Greg 25 times, he'd be 25-0. And then he added, not talking trash, it was the truth. It'd probably take us at least 20 to get to the second deck because, Greg is awesome at this game.
Right.
I'd love to see him go to WBC and take people on.
Yes.
But anyways, so yeah, and then I was playing one of my friends in Steam and he's like, oh, you're holding the such and such card because we're toward the end of the deck. And that just annoys me. It felt like Sheldon Cooper when he's like telling Will Wheaton, you're on the blah, 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 blah card. And I'm like, they should make more cards than there are possibilities so you can't predict hands. But if you do that, the scoring cards, how do you make sure you get them in there? So this, and scoring cards, you end up with 2 of them suckers in your hand or something. It kind of kills your hand. You lose a lot of opportunities. This one, every card, there's 4 different scoring mechanisms in this game, and there's dice for each one of these: urban counties, rural counties, organizations, and external influence. Each one of these dice, when it tells you to roll the external influence, 3 of the 6 markers will move up, will score external influence. The other 3, 1 for each one. So you don't know for sure what you're getting. Each card you play will tell you which die to roll. So you're kind of playing it's not so much the Twilight Struggle that we're all fighting for this one box. We know this is coming up. It's like, well, I'm doing really good on the rural counties. If I can get, because once you hit the end of the meter, you'll actually score it. Every time you roll, it says move up the meter. Then when you hit the 5th spot, you actually score it. I think it's 5, maybe 4. Anyways, so you're not sure. There's a good high probability. This also makes it much more solo friendly, because that's one of the things on Twilight Struggle is how do you solo. They even made a Stuka Joe method that I know of for this because of the whole scoring card system. And another really cool thing in this is you play an opponent's card, you'll get the points, it'll trigger his event. But what's really neat is there's no space race, but there is in the middle.
Are you sure?
Yes. In 1834, Canada, there's this, blanking on the name, what they call it. Anyway, wait a second.
I know, that's what I just was trying to fix.
Opportunity pool. Okay, yeah, it's the opportunity. And there's some cards dealt to it, and some will be yours and some will be theirs, and you end up with so many opportunity points each turn, and you can spin them to get a card. So you're not playing every card in your hand. You can try to hold them, and if you can get to certain points, then yeah, you'll discard them, and that's how you can keep an opponent's card out of their hands. It's very hard because opportunity points are used for other things. But this thing, it's only got like a 10-page rule book. I soloed it, I played it, and then I got on and I played the guy who the designer told me was the 2nd most experienced player in the world, and I won on the 25-point auto victory. He got a few bad rolls, I got a few favorable things, and I don't know, maybe he's being nice to me. And then at the same time, I played a fellow newbie, and I took the other side and won with them, not the 25 points, but I won at the end.
Bragging.
No. But I'm saying it's not imbalanced for a new person. Like, oh, there's a learning curve for this side. Not really. I thought both sides is kind of intuitive how to play it, and the system works really smooth. The designer is huge. You ask him a question, boom, he's on it. But yeah, on the topic, like I said, I still don't. The cards I like to learn more about. And he got stuff about
1834 to 1837.
Yeah.
Yeah. Specific.
Yeah, and it's just like I didn't know much about the topic, and they made a follow-up game, I think, on the Soviets. Oh, I want to say something about this too. To put it in terms for my fellow Americans, this game is not like the American Revolution. The shots were fired April 19, 1775. Imagine a game based on 1760 to 1771. You're trying to get the colonies. You got the John Adams group against John Dickinson's group, who are they want to do the olive branch. We can make peace, and the other side's no. We got to have independence, and you're trying to get the colonies on your side, and you're thinking that didn't sound too fun. Not too much direct conflict, warfare, but this game is crazy fun. It's the whole influence part, but that's kind of what it's like. So if you think I don't know anything about the topic, neither do I. But I had so much fun playing it, and it makes me want to learn more about it. There's parts about what the cards are about, and some of it kind of makes sense about, they're going to arrest some leaders. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then here's how it plays out on the board. But and there's more cards, so you can't predict their hands. And there's also a generic deck. So it'll say you draw 4 from the 1834 deck, and because there's different decks for different years, and 3 from the generic deck. And then you're going to populate the opportunity pool with this many. And there's always going to be more cards, so you can't say, oh, you're probably holding the such and such card and you're going to get me. There may be a really great card and you just ain't getting at that game.
Now, unrest in Lower Canada, I always heard like 90% of the population lives within 200 miles of the U.S. border. Yeah,
that's what I heard.
All Lower Canada.
That's when I thought Lower Canada, I thought, I'm talking about the U.S. borders. That's, and
sure.
But no, it's but hey, that's probably the Canadians like to say Midwest, and they look at it and,
Got it.
So
cool.
Anyway, so yeah, maybe they got their own lingo. I don't know. Maybe somebody can answer it because I don't know. Like I said, between 1812 and Resh, I don't know much about Canada. So, anyways, this game was a beauty. If you can find it, play it. It's awesome. It's on Vassal. It's not enough I can say about this game. This one really blew me away. So that's my number 2, Prelude to Rebellion by Compass Games.
Beautiful. My number 2. So again, this is games 3 years since our last HAMTAG. What I've been playing recently, and it was a joy to rediscover what I already knew. Raw.
The original?
I think this might be the second. Maybe it's the original.
It's not the dice game, is it?
No. It is. Yeah, it's not the dice.
I'll steal the dice game from a police officer.
With the Bakelite pieces that you can still get at BGG. They're just like the cardboard ones, but they click and they're beautiful and they're fun. So here was the deal. I liked this game. I always liked this game. Since it came out, I would play this game if it was hitting the table. We used to have a very robust group, sometimes 30, 40 folks playing, maybe not up to 40 sometimes, but generally 25 to 30. If Raw was coming out on the table, loved it. It was and is one of those games. Even when I lose, I'm having a ball. I'm like, this is amazing. And we had a bunch of family members over. So it's been a rough year for my mom. So when we had a series of birthdays came in, my sister came over, her kids, their plus ones in some cases came over. And one of the plus ones couldn't believe how many games I had. And it was funny. He saw Raw. And he was like, oh, you have to teach that. I'm like, oh, absolutely. And I've got the BGG pieces. We set it up on the table. We start playing. I even missed a couple rules because I hadn't played it in so long. And he kept going, oh, like making noise. And I was going, yes, this is why I love this so much. And of course, when the sun tiles or the raw tiles come up and you're getting closer, and if you get, and you know, you're gonna, that last one, it wipes the board, and someone's always trying to run it, you know, and everything, to raw, they want that to come up because otherwise you're gonna get it cheap and easy, and just so many things. I'm trying to get my civilizations, but I also need this, but there's that. I don't want to be the lowest in this, I want to be the most. It, again, was magical. And it reminds me of what we'll get to in another topic we're going to, of the difference kind of between the old and the new. I mean, we're to the point where I love this game. I love Reiner Knizia games. Everybody knows I still love Medici. I taught him that as well. This works so well. Everybody loved it. I was like, are you guys, they had a list of things they wanted me to teach. No, we're playing it again. No, we're playing it again. And then finally I taught some other games. The next day they're like, can we play Raw again? And I was like, yes. So don't forget about those old games either. I know most of the folks watching this don't. Magical. It is so well done. Such a fun game. The group dynamics of it. Everybody that sat down, we had a full 5-player count. Wonderful game. And it helped justify that the Bakelite, which cost more than the game, I think, that I bought, like 2008 or whatever I bought it. But love it.
So I played that at Tornado Alley, I think 2010.
Okay.
Whole bunch of real experienced players. I didn't like it back then. I used to call them, blah.
It's all right.
But a couple years later at Tornado Alley, Greg taught me the dice game, the dice version of it, and I liked it. Of course, pressing luck with dice is my thing. You know, any Yahtzee, press your luck, I go for it. But I just sat on it for all those years. Well, then my youngest daughter, when she was like in 7th grade, she really got into Egyptology. And some stuff with the Roman Empire, and she'd go read books, watch documentaries, all this stuff. I mean, she was really into this stuff. I'd take her to the used bookstore, and she'd just go crazy grabbing stuff and reading it. So I mentioned this, and she goes, yeah, sure. So I got it. I was like, well, I'll learn it. I'll suffer for the family. And I played it like, well, this game's a lot better. Wow, when you don't play with a whole bunch of really experienced players, and you're all kind of stumbling through it the same way. And
It
we
kind of
really enjoyed it.
unfolds.
Now, what's funny was she was pointing out the historical inaccuracies of the pieces because she was really into this. Of course, I asked her one time when she was talking about, she's watching a thing on King Tut, and I said, did they mention about him being born in Arizona, moved to Babylon? No, he didn't. I go, yes, he did. Steve Martin sang about it. And I played her that, and she just rolled her eyes. But anyways, yeah, then I got this on the phone app. And yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And
I may have to get it.
Oh, yeah. So I have a lot of plays on this on the phone app because it's a lot of, I mean, I can't always get the group together to play it. And I ended up, my kids were going on to college and also so I ended up selling my copy because I was like, well, I play it here all the time. And it's really not going to be a great 2-player game for my wife and I to play. So,
sure.
But yeah, I actually really like that game now. You think this is Kinesi's masterpiece? I'm not really in a... I don't know the guy. I mean, I know.
Yeah, well, Medici, really I just love it. It's my favorite game of all time, but this is right up there with it. Most people like Tigris and Euphrates. I just couldn't get into it. I didn't like the halfway swap, which I know is the reason. It makes sense and it's deep, but I just, for some reason, it didn't click with me. He's got so many. Reiner's got so many that are just.
Yeah, I don't follow him too close to know. So
I mean, as we sat and played it, and I was sitting there going, and then the group, because there was a couple, scientist, veterinarian, engineer. My other niece who's an engineer, she was like, oh, and I knew exactly what she was seeing. Gosh, this is such a great game. The only thing that saddened me is that there was a layer of dust on it. I was like, what am I doing? Of course now I know why I bought this. Because this is a wonderful game. And I usually don't go in and buy the bling. And I mean, I don't know what, it's just so weird when you've got so many games that you don't come back to something. And, love it. So that is my number 2.
See, when I did my top 100, I created an algorithm for it.
Of course.
Aaron told me it's terribly flawed because, of course, it's not 1 through 10 are like Ameritrash and Rommel in the Desert and stuff like that. But anyways, what part of my system is I penalize games each year they're not played.
Oh.
Because the argument is, how can you say it's one of your 5th favorite game? You haven't played the game in 15 years. Right. Well, it's because the game takes 3 weeks to play. Okay. So the shorter the game, if it's a 45-minute game, you should be playing that dude every year. So otherwise, it's going to take a penalty. And the shorter the game, the bigger the penalty.
So it gives you you feel guilty, like you're cheating.
And then I threw a thing in and said, if you haven't been played in the last 5 years, you're not even eligible for the top 100 now. So it keeps me rotating. It's like, oh, if I don't play this one this year, it's going to fall out. It's like, oh.
Okay.
So
it's a nice nudge.
Yeah. And then I also created a whole bunch of other stuff. But if I own the game, if I don't own the game, then it takes a humongous penalty unless we play it, which gets Aaron to play the games that he owns that I don't have.
Sure.
But yeah, he always told me it's flawed, but it just creates fun. Otherwise, my list is the same every year. My top 10 is like, well, yeah. Washington Wars, number 1. Big surprise.
Well, Liz and I were talking. We would love, because you know what I haven't played in forever is Power Grid. In August,
yes,
loved Power Grid. Would run it because you got to run the market. There's some little quirks with the market that he knew. And it's an odd game that you don't want to be in number 1 position. You kind of want to be sitting number 2, ready to
call it the horse race.
Yes. Well, you got to know when to do the run. And if you call it too early, you're going to bust out. And if you do it too late, someone else wins right before you get a shot. That's the fun of Power Grid. But we were talking about trying to get the old group together here at the house and maybe saying, August, can you run Power Grid? I'll run Medici. You run Raw or whatever, and just know that these are the games that are going to be on the table. And then whoever shows up, and we have pulled pork or something going on, a fire outside or something.
And it's funny. As I said, folks think I have no idea why they think I don't like Euro games. I mean, I don't know. I call them Eurogamers, and had a video where I kind of made fun of them.
Well, you're usually playing anything that deals with like a social game, werewolf or whatever. Yeah, so it's hard to drag you away from the social games.
Yeah. If you look at my BGG profile, it says Wargamer, Ameritrash, Social Gamer, like this big. But the thing is, when I do Euros, they're old. I like Power Grid, Automobile, the dinosaur one. I forget the name of it, but yeah, the Evo. Raw, stuff like that. My games are old. And it's like, I don't know, as they kept going, they just seemed like more like, well, they're just optimization puzzles and just creating a whole bunch more levers for me to pull. I don't need 20 levers to pull. The 5-lever game was just fine.
Okay.
And I don't know, they had what I liked because I was like, I don't know. It's like they're like, oh, it's too complex for me. Like, no, it's not too complex. Play Empire of the Sun, then talk to me about complex.
No fights.
No fights. But I'm just like the new Euros don't kick it for me like the old ones do, and I don't mind playing old ones. Problem is, so many people are cult of the new.
Sure.
I was like, yeah, I'm really not interested. I'd rather go over here.
We'll kind of talk about that in our next segment.
Okay.
We're doing a whole nother segment on the differences of gaming from when we started to where it is now.
Okay, and my honorable mentions.
Oh,
I have three honorable mentions. I put them in a reverse alphabetic order just because of box size. There's no preference. I put three of them. The Struggle for Zorn by Blue Panther, not White Dog. And I know it's Herman Lettman, okay, Fred Manzo and Ryan Heilman. This is a fantasy war game. It's like a beautiful blending of Ameritrash and war game. And when I say this, it's, okay, units have movement values, but it's not like you got to go look up the terrain value. If it's easier to move in, it's a bigger block. So the plane space will be really big, the marsh space will be little tiny, so you can't make much progress from them. The combat, it tells you this guy rolls a D10, this guy rolls a D8, this guy rolls a D6. You chuck your dice, add them up. It says, if you get stunned or disorganized, if you will, you just go down a die from a D12 to a D10. So hey, you might roll hot, you might roll bad, but I mean, it's very elegant in that if you're a war gamer, I'm sitting there going, wow, this feels like I'm trying to cross the Remagen Bridge over here. I was trying to make a bridge for us so I can get my guys across. Oh, the theme of the game is you're trying to clear I'm not even supposed to talk about this much detail. Am I supposed to? Sorry. You're trying to clear rid the land of evil. Anyways, my bad.
Rid the land of evil.
Yes.
All right. Your enthusiasm pours forth.
It's solo. It's solo and competitive cooperative where you can fight with each other. Basically, if you play it right, there's only one winner. But a lot of times we play it where we're just too nice to each other, so we're just all going to try to rid the land of evil. My second one, Manila, the Savage Street, Michael Ranella, if you're familiar with his Advance to the Volga Stalingrad game, very, very similar system, comes from the Islands of the Damned game, Utmost Savagery. Based on that system where the pieces are inverted and you flip them over. Solitaire game, I like this one better than Stalingrad. I mean, it might be because there's American GIs and I prefer it. Thematically, it works a little better for me because some people say, well, in Stalingrad, they're not really counterattacking, where this one, they're more dug in. And they will do stuff and counter at you. But super high quality. Are
there civilians in this that are getting in the way? Or
is there what?
Civilians?
Yeah, you'll have civilians. Yeah, each turn there's a random event. One part of the problem is there can be civilians, refugees.
Because I know in the Japanese kind of were slaughtering.
My third game is Burning Banners by Compass Games. I blanked on his name.
Golden Age of Collection.
Yeah. Who designed this? I forget his name. He's a fantasy artist.
Really?
This game is one of the two most beautiful games in my collection. Mega quality, very heavy, 4 humongous boards. It has a kind of an old... The reason this is honorable mention, because I've only played the basic game. The advanced adds a whole lot more with the magic stuff. But you got armies of dwarves. You might be the dwarves, you be the elves, whatever, these type of different groups. And it has a very...
Christopher Muller.
Yeah, Christopher Muller. Yeah, thank you. It has a very 80s old school fantasy war game vibe, but it's not. It's definitely not that where Avalon Hill and your 4-3 movement attack. But it's just a really slick, and it's so gorgeous. I wasn't really interested in fantasy stuff, and I was just like, I love Ameritrash, but I'm like, I don't know about this. I just kept looking at it going, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Do I really want to do this? And finally, I was like, oh, I'll do it. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be burned on this thing. It's going to be a dog. And I was like, wow, this is really good. And I get asked all the time, which game? I said, get them both. They're different games. Anyways, I even had a comparison on in the forum on this. Somebody asked, I was talking about it. Anyways, that was my other honorable mention, Burning Banners.
Got it. I'll throw my honorable mentions. I'll throw a photo up just because these are more role-playing game and they're a little obscure. So Free League Games is a company out of Sweden that they really lean into helping like indie developers come up with their games. So Into the Odd Chris McDowell, the designer, and he's got a whole like other games that have come up out of that. I'm blanking on their name, but Into the Odd is great. It's a real simplified role-playing system, light, fast, movement forward, OSR type system, which is old school Renaissance, and then Death in Space from that same system. Think blue collar space, kind of not quite like Aliens, how everything's blue collar, but it's this star system without a star. There's some backstory to that, which would cause all kinds of problems, but everything is
And they live?
failing. Yeah, I know. They've got energy sources that are able to like keep heat and everything running even without. I know.
Don't play that with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Sure, sure.
He'll
Well, my
ruin it for
understanding
you.
is though that space anyway, it's not that space is cold. It's just that space leaches all things. It's bringing everything back to just a perfect zero, right?
Second law of thermo.
Right. So it's not that it's freezing cold. It's just that heat dissipates. So
If I remember
fast.
right, the average temperature of the universe is 4 Kelvin. I don't know. I'm going off of what I saw in college.
So-
that was a long time ago.
Regardless, it's supposed to be like 1,000,000 or 1,000 years or 2,000 years, and it's some other place, and everything's breaking down, and they've forgotten. It's kind of like a dystopian. They've forgotten how things were made, so everybody's holding on and repairing because none of the original ideas or thinkers are there to make things work the way they used to. And there's
Like
all kinds of
Waterworld,
problems.
kind of too.
Kind of like, yeah. So it's that feeling in Death in Space, and then they have void points, which almost brings in like mutations, everything from like kind of like in apocalyptic games where certain mutations help you because you're resistant to whatever. But it's also, or even that would be even back to Waterworld where
'Cause
he
he
has
could-
gills.
gills, yeah.
Right. So it's
You just
kind
ruined
of-
the movie. Thanks.
Oh, sorry, shoot. If you haven't seen it. It's kind of
Your
hurt
fault.
reviving a little bit. Some people are going back and watching it again. So,
I liked it. I'm sorry. I liked it.
all right, those are. I liked how he was drinking his own water.
Yeah. They filtered it.
Yes. So everything from Free League Games, I enjoy. They're my favorite company, and they're out of Sweden, and they're awesome. So those would be my honorable mentions.
Do you have a character that goes, "The sun is a myth.
No.
I've traveled farther than most have dreamed, and I've never seen it."
So go with your number one.
My number one, I said Burning Banners is one of the 2 most beautiful games in my collection. My number one is the other one. It is A Most Fearful Sacrifice, The 3 Days of Gettysburg, Flying Pig Games, Herman Luttman. I think Herman Luttman's one of the best designers out there. He knows, like Dawn of the Zeds. When I mentioned that thing, it was such a great. I didn't think he could ever top Zeds because Zeds is so great. But man, he loves his Ameritrash, and he does lots of Civil War and stuff around 1870s Prussia area. He really specializes in those 3 things. The thing that's so amazing about this game is, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that the 2 most common gamed battles are Waterloo and Gettysburg. And if you can make the best in either one, that's quite an accomplishment. I think this is the best Gettysburg I've ever played. I haven't played them all by any means, but I've heard a lot of people say that.
Invalid. You haven't played them all.
I haven't played them all. I know. I'm just, yeah, definitely. But I'm just saying, I have seen a lot of people say that this is the best Gettysburg game they've ever played. And I was like,
Hold on.
that's amazing.
Are these cards in there for a reason? I don't want to mess up your saved card.
I was playing a guy in Vassal.
Got it.
So, anyways, I was playing a guy in Vassal, and I'd take that up every night to have my rule book and the cards we were using.
Got it.
Anyways, the game, the production quality is off the charts. The maps are humongous, but it's not so much. Most of these are, you can play the whole thing or you can play in scenarios.
The map's kind of pencil color, though.
I'll tell you about it in a second.
Okay.
You usually play on a portion of the map. Like when you play the big top scenarios, like they sold as a Kickstarter extra these neoprene strips you could just mark off the edges. You know, they'll tell you, like most of the games, it works within these hex rows. I thought that's kind of cool. But anyways, this game is very heavy too. Counters, really sharp, big rounded counters, good looking cards. But this is, I thought this was Rick Barber's final map, the late Rick Barber, the Civil War. Yeah. And Rick knew Gettysburg. And I didn't think I'd ever see a better looking game than Summer Storm by him. But I mean, I think this map's a little better. And he made a bunch with Revolution in there, which this is similar to Blind Sword system. I'll talk about in a second. But anyways, this is just so good. This map, it's just beautiful. So the system, I don't know if you're familiar with Blind Swords. They're smaller games by Revolution, and they involve chip pulls, and they do they really capture the fog, friction, and fortunes of war really well because of the event things. You know, you pick a chit you want in there, then you draw like 3 blind ones and throw them in there, so you don't know what you're getting for sure. And you activate your regiments, I think, and then you get a division. You know, the division, and I think there are battalion regiments in there. But anyways, so you can activate the leader over multiple battalions. You can. So you could activate a guy twice in there. And then when you do it, you pick what you want to do, whether it's offensive, defensive, or regrouping of sorts. So I'm not using the exact right phrases. But this game will do this, but it does it with cards instead of chits. And the cards, the command structure is different too. So there are differences in this thing. You know, you'll pick a card, throw it in, or 2 cards and throw them into the thing, and then you'll like randomly draw 2 more and throw them in there. And then the others are for the activations of the different, and this is a larger scale. These are up at the division level. So there's a lot of similarities there. So if you know Blind Sword, you'll recognize a lot of this. But this works better on a large scale. The thing, they made a, Longstreet Attacks game. It's pretty big. And the Pea Ridge game was pretty big. And for me, I think Blind Swords works better when it's a small battle. Wilson's Creek, something like that's really ideal. With this sucker's big. You would not, I don't know, Blind Swords junkies really would say so. But if you took Blind Swords and tried to play that across all of Gettysburg, that would be a monster. Or this system works better for the large scale battle. So they made this. I just got here within the last few weeks. They made the second game in the series, Chickamauga. So when you got those multi-day big battles, this system works really well for it. And like I said, the quality is just top notch, and I think Herman outdid himself. Now I want to see if he can top this one. I mean, he might. He's Herman Ludman, but he has made so many great games, and I think this is his magnum opus. That is my #1 game, A Most Fearful Sacrifice.
Now, you said there's a reason they use pencil.
Oh, that's Rick Barber's style.
That's his style?
Yeah.
He just does colored pencils?
It's not colored pencil, but
it looks colored pencil to me.
If you've seen a Rick Barber map, you know what I'm talking about, and you recognize his handwriting, the way he does trees,
like Kibler.
So
Kibler from Avalon Hill. Yeah. That's my favorite. He's my favorite.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, I've even interviewed.
He did Manila's.
He did
Manila's counters.
He makes my favorite maps.
Yeah, I love his. I love his artwork too.
Right. So that's where my parcel is. But yeah, not saying it's bad. It just looks like it's using.
This system also is a lot easier to tell elevations on than Blind Swords is.
It is. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
I can tell here.
Yeah, they got little numbers on there to tell you what they are. 5 is greater than 4, greater than 3. Yeah. So, anyways, but yeah, that's my #1.
Love it. As nice as the production level of that is, although I do have a new booklet for this, Maze Rats. This is a printed little booklet. Ben Milton, oddly enough, never met him, lives here in Wichita.
Seriously?
Yeah. So he was a teacher. I think he's a full-time game designer now. So Ben Milton made Maze Rats. He's got a full, nice pamphlet that I've purchased since. He put out a hardback book with like another rule set called Knave, 2nd edition. I've got it sitting over there. It's a 20-sided die, but this uses 2d6, which I like a nice bell curve for your combat. 20-sided dice are swingy. You get the excitement of rolling the 20, but I like that bell curve. And in the game, if you have a system, and I'll get into it, because really let me back up before we get into the details. What this has allowed me to do, it's a very light, stripped down role-playing game. It only uses 3 stats, your strength, your dexterity, and your willpower. And then it fits everything into those. And what I wanted was a very light, easy system because I was bringing some people in that had never played role-playing games. And we were doing a West Marches. West Marches is an exploration game. They're going to create characters quickly, which he has a system that creates a character within like 5 minutes. The idea is it's a very hazardous system. If your character dies, you're making a new one. They are not safe. Old school Renaissance is that your characters, you should have probably 3 or 4 of them ready to go. Don't have your favorites because they're going to die. And I like that because it puts danger back in at the table. And the way the West Marches campaign works, and I wasn't sure it was going to work, but I'm over a year and a half with this group meeting once a month now, is that it's like you're sitting down and you're a writing group that's writing the TV series Firefly, and Joss Whedon's in there with you, and you're running the characters, and you know what they're like, but you're running one character. Well, you know how Mal acts. Mm-hmm. You know he's going to boot the guy into the jet, and just next guy, oh, whatever you want, or whatever. You know, Jane's going to be in his bunk. Okay, so you're creating that individual character. And then when you're at the table, you're embodying it. And when you're playing a campaign, especially a West Marches, where you're learning the territory and it's coming to life around you, everybody at the table almost knows what your character is going to do because you're playing them, not yourself. But as an OSR player, you also are playing, well, I'm a gamer. What would this individual do? In that situation, being true to the character, but also trying to be smart with your moves so that you don't die, because dying's possible. So Maze Rats has allowed me to do that. Now, it uses 2d6. If you go into a situation and you're able to create an advantage, so let's say you do a dexterity danger check and you're able to somehow scale a wall or a tree, and you're ready to jump down on the brigand when they whatever, well, you're going to get advantage on the attack because it's a surprise attack. An advantage means you're going to roll 3d6, take the high 2. You could end up in a disadvantaged situation, whatever that might be. You would roll 3d6, but you're forced to take the low 2. So you've got these little things that are real easy to explain at the table. What it allowed me to do is have the system kind of fall into the back and then have the gameplay take over. There's a real simple wild magic system here that's very open. You get a couple words, a couple different things, and you're able to tell me what that is. And I, as the GM, tell you, that's a little overpowered. We're going to nerf that down a little bit or whatever. But you're able to do a lot of things to make the world feel real at the table. It's worked perfectly. As we've played, we've tweaked a few tiny things. At some point, I may ask them if they want to kind of add a few more rules to make it a little more, but they may not. The world is coming to life, and it's been such a pleasure to physically play in a campaign that looks like this group may stretch out over years, maybe into a decade. We had one player say, you know what, I've lost interest. He left. I had him killed gruesomely. Just as a lesson to all players, what happens if you bail. But it has been awesome. Ben Milton made a perfect little system, a little game. I bought it when you just bought it for like $4.99 off of Drive-Thru RPG, printed it out, and just played it. I mean, I've got handwritten notes in here. This thing is at the table. They're grabbing it. They're checking things. You can play ad hoc, which is what I like. It's all about situations, not about me making you play my story. It's situational, and what are you going to do? My number one is Maze Rats.
One other thing I wanted to add on Fearful Sacrifice, for those who
You've been waiting.
No, Blind Swords. I thought something you said combat. Combat system is easier. I think Blind Swords, you roll 2 dice. I mean, you roll your dice twice on every combat, and this one is it's less dice rolling. I think the one die roll will encapsulate that, and then you look at a little chart and compare your thing, and it tells you what it is.
And it said like a game's only like 90 minutes. Is that correct?
Scenarios. If you're not going to fight 3 days again. Yeah.
Right. Because I would love to play that.
Because like the little round top, I think something like 8 units or something total to start. So
fixed bayonets.
Charge. Yeah, it's in there. They got cards for that. Yeah.
Do you get an advantage for coming down the hill instead of going up?
Going uphill is definitely a problem. It's going to give you a disadvantage. But if you're in
we have to play it at some point in time. All right. So what do you think? That's it. What do you think? Please put your comments in. throw in what your top 5 would be, you know, what you've done in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add in general?
No, not really.
All right.
It was hard to do 5. I mean,
That's the best.
it's not that I sit there and I don't buy games like I used to, but you know, Aaron and I played a lot of Ameritrash, and I didn't really have a lot of Ameritrash in here, but
You got some real interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I would love to play Bayonets and Tomahawks with you, but definitely a most fearful sacrifice. Very nice. Chief, bonding with board games and RPGs with Judd Vance. HAMTAG.